soul. A wonderful old tale is told about the painter Wu Daoji. The story is about a painter called Wu Daoji who lived in the 8th century. His last painting was a landscape commissioned by the Zheng Emperor Xuanzong to decorate the palace wall. The master had hidden his work behind a screen, and so only the emperor would see it. For a long while, the emperor admired the wonderful scene, discovering forest, high mountain, waterfall, clouds floating in an immense sky, men on hilly path, birds in flight. Look, sire, said the painter. And there was a Chinese emperor, and who asked a painter named Wu Daoji to make a painting on his wall. And now it was a beautiful scenery. The birds were flying in the sky, the sun was rising, and the flowers were blooming, and it was the scene of a hilly area. It's all right. It was the scene, and now the painter had hidden his work behind the screen. He put a curtain, and so that only the king could see it. Any problem? No. And the painter clapped, and now look, sire, said the painter, in this cave at the foot of the mountain dwells a spirit. And he told the king, sire, please see my work, and there is a spirit that lives in the cave at the foothill. In the cave at the foothill, and I will show you. The king entered the cave. No matter it was a painting, the king entered, and now can convey. The painter clapped, and the inside is splendid beyond anything words can convey. Inside is very beautiful, and I will show you. Please let me show your majesty the way. The painter entered the cave. The painter entered the cave of his painting, and your majesty, the way the painter entered the cave, but the entrance closed behind him, and before the astonished emperor could move or utter a word, the painting had vanished from the wall. Not a trace of Wu Daoji's brush was left, and the artist was never seen again in this world. There is a beautiful story about a painter Wu Daoji, and the emperor, Chinese emperor Xuanzong, asked him to paint a beautiful painting, and it was a painting of a hilly area. The birds were flying, the flowers blooming, the river was flowing, and there was a beautiful cave at the foothill. And he put a curtain over it so that only the king could see it. Any problem?
No, sir.
He told the king, please see. It is a cave, a spirit lives in it, and I am going to show you the way. And he started entering, and when the painter had entered, the painting started vanishing from the wall, and not even a single stroke of his brush was left, and the king was left bewildered. He was shocked because the painting with the painter had disappeared. Such stories are found in Chinese civilization, and such stories played an important part in Chinese classical education. And when classical education is imparted to students, such stories are there. And the books of Confucius and Zhuangzi are full of them. They help the master to guide his disciple the right direction. Means they help in showing the right direction to their student. And beyond the anecdote, they are deeply revealing to the spirit in which art was considered. Contrast this story or another famous one about a painter, and who wouldn't draw the eye of a dragon. He had painted for fear it would fly out of the painting. There was another painter, and he drew the picture of a dragon, but he did not draw its eye, because he had a fear when he would paint its eye, it would fly. It was a realistic painting. And with an old story from my native Flanders that I find most representative of Western painting. Western paintings are representative. And in 15th century, Antwerp, a master blacksmith called Quentin Massey fell in love with a painter's daughter. The father would not accept a son-in-law in such a profession, because the boy was in the profession of smith, and he was a blacksmith, Luhar. And but the girl was from a renowned family of painter. And so Quentin sneaked into the painter's studio and painted a fly on his latest panel. He painted a fly. And with such delicate realism that the master tried to sweat it away before he realized what he had happened, and Quentin was immediately admitted as an apprentice into his studio. He married his beloved and went on to become one of the most famous painters of his age. And now the boy, when the boy was refused that he could marry his daughter, and so he entered his studio and painted a fly on the panel with such realism that it could not be shown off by the painter. Then painter realized his talent and he allowed his daughter to marry him. Okay? Next story. And now these two stories illustrate what each form of art is trying to achieve: a perfect illusionistic likeness in Europe, the essence of inner life and spirit in Asia. In Europe, there are certain differences between European art and Asian art. Asian art is representative, full of representation. Okay, and now while it is full of illusion, Brahm, in Western painting. And in the Chinese story, the emperor commissions a painting and appreciates its outer appearance. But the artist reveals to him the true meaning of his work. The emperor may rule over the territory he has conquered. An emperor is the master of the territory that he had conquered. But only the artist knows the way within. Let me show the way. The Tao, a word that means the path or the method and the mysterious work of universe. That is the hidden meaning. Tao means the path, the mystery of universe. Okay? The painting is gone, but the artist has reached his goal beyond any material appearance. The painting had disappeared. The artist had gone because he got salvation, moksha. The artist had disappeared. It means that he was a perfect person, and that's why he was very devoted to his duty, and so he got salvation, moksha, to get rid of the cycle of birth and death. आ गया या नहीं? आ गया? Next, a classical Chinese landscape is not meant to reproduce an actual view as would a Western figurative painting. Western painting are figurative. What you see, and they are before you. But Chinese paintings have hidden meaning. Chinese paintings are full of representations. Okay? And it has, whereas the European painter wants you to borrow his eyes and look at a particular landscape exactly as he saw it from a specific angle. And the Chinese painter does not choose a single viewpoint. His landscape is not a real one, and you can enter it from any point. You can enter his painting from any point and then travels in it. The artist creates a path for your eyes to travel up and down, then back again in a leisurely movement. That is even more true in the case of the horizontal scroll. in which the action of slowly opening one section of the painting, then rolling it up to move on the other side, adds a dimension of time which is unknown in any other form of painting. It also requires the active participation of the viewer. In Chinese painting, you may enter from any point, but in Western painting, you cannot enter from any point. Whatever the painter is showing you, you will have to see it. For example, Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa is showing you this Mona Lisa. But in Chinese painting, there is beautiful painting. This particular thing represents that or this. And the Chinese painter does not want you to borrow his eye. He wants you to enter his mind. The landscape is an inner one, a spiritual and conceptual space. This concept is expressed as Shen Shui. Feng Shui, Shen Shui, you must have heard the name. Shen Shui, literally mountain water. Shen Shui means mountain water. And which used together represent the word landscape. More than two elements of an image, these represent two complementary poles, reflecting the Taoist view of the universe. The mountain is yang, reaching vertically upwards heaven. Mountain is muscular force, yang, while water is feminine force, yin. And the void space in which human plays an important part, that is the intermingling of male and female force. In Hindu mythology also, Mahadev, Shiv, that is female force, that is male force, and that is the union of negative and positive. It is the essence of universe. You might have learned in science balancing of atom, means bonding of atom, negative and positive, and they acquire stability. Okay? In every walk of life, the union of negative and positive is essential. And what is often overlooked is an essential third element, the middle void, where their interaction takes place. This can be compared with the yogic practice of pranayam, breath in, retain, breath out. Pranayam, सांस को आगे लेना, सांस को पीछे छोड़ना. And now, where meditation occurs, the middle void is essential. Nothing can happen without it. Here, the importance of void, unpainted space in Chinese landscape, and where the interaction takes place by human being. And this is also where man finds a fundamental role in that space between heaven and earth. He becomes the conductor of communication between both poles of the universe. His presence is essential, even if it only suggested. Far from being lost or oppressed by the lofty peak, he is in Francois Chang's wonderful expression, the eye of the landscape. Who is known as the eye of the landscape? Man. Because he plays an important part in the attraction of male and female force. Thank you very much.